All right. Hello, all you sports fans out there in podcast land, and welcome once again to another edition of Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast, where I, your host Brooks, try to bring you some of today's sports news with just a little twist of my point of view. Hope everyone is having a great week. Sorry I didn't do the episode yesterday. Should have done one in the morning, but I put it off and decided to walk and get some breakfast at Howdy. At ATL, right by the zoo. It was like a 20-minute walk from here. Really good biscuits. Had a bacon, egg, and cheese. And then they had these, I go blank on what they're called. But it's like cinnamon rolls, but made with like biscuit dough. So delicious. And then once I got back, I was kind of chilling because I'd already kind of had in my head I was going to do the episode after the game since the Braves had such an early game. But I still would have had time to do an episode. I should have done one early because once I watch the game and the Braves lose, it kind of takes some enthusiasm out of it. And I'm like, well, shit, now I don't really feel like talking about it. Should have done it, split the two games up. Instead, talking about the last two games that the Braves will take on the Phillies in the regular season at least. Still potentially could face off in the division series because the Braves have already clinched first round bye, so they will have home field advantage for the NLDS sitting there waiting in the second round. I think as of now it would be like Cubs and Phillies. Whoever wins that series would come face the Braves. And I tell you, I do not want to see this Philadelphia team in the playoffs again. I know the Braves are good enough to beat anybody, but it's concerning. I mean, you go back to last year, the shades of '93. The Phillies beating us when we're division winners and going on and competing for a World Series. And this team has just been hitting the damn ball lately. And this was the last series between our two teams. The Braves did finish with a winning record, so winning the series for the season 8-5, or 8 wins to 5 for the Phillies. But the surprising thing in this was the lack of home field advantage, really, for both teams. The Braves, 3-4 at Truist Park against the Phillies this year. And on the road, they were 5-1. Only lost one game in Philadelphia. So take that what you will. But the Braves just kind of not necessarily getting it done. And we did the first game that I will be talking about. Of course, lost the first game of the series after getting swept down in Miami. But the thing is, these teams have a lot more to fight for. The Marlins like half a game out of the final wild card spot. The Phillies are pretty much got the first wild card spot locked up. But I'm still holding out hope that they go on a losing streak and somehow San Diego ends up in there. We did have to go over the wild card standings since I skipped wild card Wednesday, but we'll do that after we talk about the beloved Bravos. But we won the game 2 of this series 9-3. I already had our first 4-game losing streak of the season recently. The Braves were like, nope, we are not losing 5 in a row this year. And I'm not going to get too concerned about losing some games right now because you still see them bounce back like they did in this game. Really good having Spencer Strider on the mound, a good situation to get right because we didn't have Max Fried pitch this time through the rotation. Good news is, though, he is scheduled to pitch tonight in the series opener against the Nationals up there in Washington, a 4-game series. So it'd be good to get Max back. I feel like that was one of the things that hurt us, only having one of our aces. Charlie Morton giving up, getting shellacked in Miami, 16-2, which wasn't all him, obviously, but a lot of runs coming from him in that one. But I feel confident Charlie will get it figured out. But it's always good to have Spencer Strider. We get to win number 18 on the season with this one. Goes 7 innings, strikes out 11. No walks. That's, to me, even more impressive than 11 strikeouts because the Braves walking some Phillies. I think it was like in these 3 games, it was like 8 home runs and 10 walks to the Phillies. But in this game, no walks. Not just by Spencer, AJ and Joe, both with walkless, hitless, but perfect innings. Strider, only gave up 4 hits over the 7 innings, allowed 3 runs to score. That was on, of course, Bryce Harper in the 6th inning, had a 3-run homer, scored Rojas, scored Trey Turner. And hey, still, the way this Philly team's been playing, especially against the Braves lately, it feels like, you'll take just giving up the 1 home run because it was the best we did against the Phillies. And he got some run support from his team in this one. Of course, Ronald Acuna Jr., home run number 38 and home run number 39. So he is only 1 home run away from being just the 5th player in baseball history to have 40 homers and 40 stolen bases in a season. He already the first player to have 30 homers and 60 stolen bases in a season. Is getting closer and closer to starting another new club, the 40-70 club, y'all. He just needs 1 more homer and 3 more stolen bases. You got number 67 in this game. Right when it looked like the stolen bases or the home runs, one of the 2 would slow down. It's like finding a way to just keep putting up numbers and just doing shit that hasn't been done. I don't see how. No offense to Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts, an incredible player, has had an awesome season. But I don't really, I'm obviously super biased in this conversation. I don't see any way Ronald Acuna Jr. doesn't win MVP. Because, all you can point at is just the wins above average stuff. And I don't know. I don't really get into the deep analytics. I'm still kind of old school when it comes to baseball stats. I look at batting average and home runs and RBIs. And, Mookie may be ahead barely on a category here or there, maybe the RBIs. But Ronald's right there. And they're tied with home runs now. Both of them have 39 home runs. But it was great to see Acuna, man. It was his bobblehead day. He was showing out 3 of 5 in this one. Those 2 home runs. Scored 3 times. Top of the lineup did a really good job for the Braves in this one. Not only was Ronald 3 of 5, Ozzie Albies was 2 of 4. He scored twice as well. And Austin Riley, 2 of 4. Matt Olson only 1 of 3, but has an RBI. Ozuna had a big game in this one, 3 of 4, 3 RBIs. It's like this team just keeps finding ways to put up numbers, and it just felt like they were going to respond because and I really loved how they did. Ronald Acuna Jr., the first pitch that the Braves see in this game, just smacks it out the park. Adding another one later, it felt like he really was like, we are not losing our 5th game in a row, especially not on my damn bobblehead night. And he did have a couple days off, which he probably didn't really want to do. But nice, it's like a minor issue. And at this point, especially with the Braves, even with some of these losses, they still hold a lead on the Dodgers, to where they'd have to lose more of their games. Like they'd have to lose a lot of games on the way out to really lose home field advantage, but I don't see that happening. I think they're going to find ways to win games because, we just played the Phillies and Marlins, and both of those teams, have a lot, they're still playing for something. They're still fighting, for wild card spots. Yeah, the Phillies probably have it pretty much locked up, but if we had beat them in Atlanta like we had just beat them in Philly, like we took 3 of 4 up there, and they took 2 of 3 from us. But if, we could have pushed them, a little bit, made it a little bit more hard for them to win that. Try to play spoiler for them, but they're not about that. But now we got the Nationals. The Nationals, all they have left to do is play spoiler. And I'm sure they would love to do that in front of the home crowd, but sometimes it's a little different. Like not, when you're playing for nothing really. When just to be a spoiler. So I think the Braves have a good chance to get back right up against the Nationals. But either way, not too bad. Spencer Strider, top. I think got to be the top in the win. Of course, there we go. So let's look at the Major League wins leaders because I'm pretty sure it's got to be him. It was before. See if anybody caught him. Yep, he's got 2 more wins than the next guy. You've got Zach Gallen, who has 16 wins to go with 8 losses. And he's the only, not the only, one of the only guy near the top that's close in strikeouts. He's got 205 to Strider's 270. The 11 he got in his game the other day means he is only 7 away from tying and then eventually breaking John Smoltz's Braves record. The only thing going against him really when it comes to, I hate how it does this. He's trying to look at something. Like earned run average, of course, he's, not as high as Blake Snell, who is, Blake Snell, God, come on. I hate when it does this with stats, like just making it difficult. Yeah. Blake Snell only has 14 wins, and 9 losses. So you want to talk about his, better ERA, 233, like, point way below Spencer Strider at 3.73. But I feel like the wins should make a difference. And I get it. That's a big difference in ERA. But you look at wins, 4 more wins, 3 more less losses. And a lot of that is the Padres have struggled this year, which they are in a little bit of a winning streak. We'll talk more about that when we go over the wild card standings here later on when I'm done talking about the Braves. But the Braves, this game here, thanks to Ronald Acuna Jr., the game on Tuesday night was not really ever in doubt. Ronald Acuna Jr., Spencer Strider, tag teaming that shit. Because not only had Acuna's home run in the first, that's 1-0. Then the Braves add on a little bit more. Kevin Pillar makes it 3-0 with a 2-run single, sending Ozuna and d'Arnaud across the plate. And they end up with bases are loaded. Matt Olson walks. Ronald Acuna Jr. gets to score pretty easy on this one. So 4-0. And they weren't done. Ozuna added a double that sent home Ozzie and Austin. Braves are up 6-0. And just in case, you got Orlando Arcia with the sac fly, scores Olson. Just like that, you go from a 1-0 lead, the 4th and the 5th inning, turn it into a 7-0 lead. And you feel pretty damn good with Spencer on the mound. Even though he did give up the 3-run homer, made you a little, not nervous, but like, oh shit. The way this Philly team has been hitting the ball lately, they can definitely, make up 4 runs. So you like the insurance. As soon as Harper hits that home run, Ronald Acuna Jr. comes up facing a new pitcher and another solo homer. So you can't get all the runs back at once, but he gets one of them back. Then a few batters later, Marcell Ozuna scores, sends Ozzie Albies across the plate to give the final score we get in this game, 9-3. From the 6 on, no scoring. Definitely, I liked how the Braves responded hitting-wise against Christopher Sanchez, who had a really good performance strikeout-wise. I think he was trying to look like Spencer last time out, had like 11 strikeouts. But only 2 in this one. Only goes 4 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs allowed. Then Lorenzen came on, and he could only get 1 out. And the Braves scored 4 runs in that 1 out. So good for the Braves in that one. Oh, just a second. I think I have a sneeze coming. Hate it. Now, of course, right when I pause to sneeze, it never happens. But either way, good game for the Braves. Great, see AJ and Jimenez do that to finish up Strider's really good work. Too bad we couldn't do it 2 days in a row. Back to losing. Last night, I think yesterday afternoon, the early game. Braves have, go down 6-5 in the 10th inning. They have lost 5 of their last 6 games now. Philly getting started earlier in this one. Bryce Elder's struggles lately continue. Was our best pitcher first half of the season, earned an all-star appearance. But ever since the all-star break, not been quite the same. He'll string together a couple good starts and usually followed by a couple not so good starts. In his last 2 starts, he's given up 8 runs in only 8 2/3 innings. So not looking good. But, he's probably more likely to be a bullpen option in the division series. And, maybe he could get a start in the LCS. But the way he's been pitching lately, I don't know if he's someone you want to throw out there. He did get 4 runs in this one, 3 hits, 5 walks. That was the concerning thing. Like right out the gate, giving just free passes to the first 2 guys. This Phillies team is too damn good, especially the way they've been hitting the ball the last couple months. Too damn good to give them extra opportunities, to give them free guys on base. But it looked like the Braves might have a chance to get out of it after walking the first 2 guys. They got Bryce Harper to ground into a double play. So it's like, oh, cool, just get 1 more out, Bryce. And we get out of this inning, no damage done. Wasn't to be though. Had Bohm, was it getting Bohm out? Bohm hits one into the outfield. Schwarber comes across the plate, and they added another homer in the 2nd and the 4th inning. Castellanos, who is 2 homers early on in this one. Just like that, the Braves are down 4-0, and it's only the 4th inning. The good news is, though, Braves had a comeback in them. Chipped away at first a little bit at a time. 1 run in the 4th. Olsen, the RBI single, sent Acuna home. And Acuna's only base hit in this one. He was 1 of 5 after the amazing offensive performance the game before. Not quite getting it done in this one. Had to hit the ball hard a couple times, but always at somebody, it felt like. And so there's 1 run there, and the Braves, Nicky Lopez, who was playing for Orlando Arcia in this game, has an RBI single, and Michael Harris II, who had just got on base, scores from second. So Braves cut the deficit in half, and it's halfway through the game. You feel okay about it. And then in the 8th inning, Braves RBI single from Austin Riley. Marcell Ozuna, RBI double. Scores Matt Olson. The game is tied up. Just felt like the Braves missed an opportunity to win this one in the 9th, though. Or even in the 8th to take the lead. It felt like they had a chance. Not, leaving Ozuna on base. Or Ozuna, I was going to say leaving him on base, but Forrest Wall pinch ran for him. So we're hoping to get him a chance. They put Kevin Pillar pinch hit for Eddie Rosario. But Kevin Pillar striking out, leaving a runner in scoring position. It sucked, but it's going to happen. Pillar has had some pretty clutch hits for us in the past. He's really usually pretty good coming off the bench. But you can't do it every time usually. It's not going to happen. But Raisel Iglesias set us up for success as, 9th inning, yet nobody out. Nobody gets on base. 2 strikeouts and a pop out. 1, 2, 3. Giving the offense a chance to walk it off and improve the home record against the Phillies this year. Have a winning record at home against the Phillies this year. Braves couldn't do it. They came up in the 9th. You like your chances. Murphy walks to lead the inning off. Usually that's a good sign. If you're the offense, you put Luke Williams on base for Murphy. Good thing about having the other catcher. You can put him out there. Darno can replace him, no trouble. But Williams, gets on base. Still second. Still third. And looked like, I honestly thought the Braves had a chance there because with only 1 out, a deep fly ball should win this game. Orlando Arcia pinch hit for Nicky Lopez. Comes up, fouls out. And it looked like it was going to be a good one. But Williams, I don't know if he just didn't start running quick enough or what. But it was like he didn't even have a chance on the throw. Because it looked like even the Phillies manager was pretty much like, yeah, we were kind of hoping he would drop that one. Castellanos, though, had the 2 home runs earlier and pretty much wins the game for them, even though there were still extra innings. I feel like the Braves really missed an opportunity here. Williams was out, wasn't even close, couldn't even really deny it at all. And I was like, man, I was hoping there would be some flaw. No, he missed the tag. Nope, perfect throw, perfect tag. Game goes to extra innings, and immediately, AJ Minter out there trying to hopefully get a win if the team can score some runs, but he gives up 2 runs. Same as former Brave Craig Kimbrell on the other side walks the opener guy. Schwarber's on base. So they get a double play, but you still have a guy on second. And they put in a little faster fella in Rojas, who did not start in this one. And then you walk Harper. You get a double steal. And you get an intentional walk. You load the bases. This is why I don't like intentional walks, man. They can really come back. They can backfire on you really quick. So, yeah, you like your chances. You're like, okay. Like, we got 2 outs. Let's just walk this guy and get him. But Stott, doing a good job playing in this one. RBI double. Scoring 2 of those 3 runners. And another walk, and then a strikeout, inning over, but damage done. 6-4. And yeah, the Braves are capable of scoring 2 runs, but it's tough to do. They're able to get 1 across. Ozzie Albies had a sac fly that scored Orlando Arcia. But, Acuna grounded out before that. Like, you had a chance. Get the extra run. You had the runner on base. But Acuna couldn't come through this time. But, can't do it every time. He does a lot. He does a lot of shit for us. Most valuable player. And then Austin Riley flies out. So that's just disappointing because, number one, the way the 9th ended disappointing. It felt like we should have been able to get a run across in that situation. Maybe it'd been better if we'd had hadn't already used Forrest Wall. Maybe we could have had Forrest Wall instead of Luke Williams. I feel like Forrest Wall is a little bit faster. He's younger. But maybe I need to see maybe a different angle maybe to see it's just Williams started running too late. I feel like he must have hesitated because, dude, Castellanos had to turn around and throw it. It wasn't like he was able to use his momentum. So that's what the Braves thought they would have been able to score there. And I understand running, but she's got to run faster, I guess. But, and then you have a chance in the 10th inning. That's why I just really wish. I feel like it, could have been a lot different if we came up with just needing to score a run to win. But A.J. Minter, after pitching really good the night before, perfect inning. Tough to do it back-to-back days, I guess, especially against a team like the Phillies. But the Braves, even down 2, you still felt like you had a chance when you got your 1, your 2, and your 3 guys, especially the way they hit the game before. But only able to get, not able to get any of them on base. The only run scored is the automatic runner. And after, multi-hits from all 3 of them this time, Ozzie was the same at 2 for 4, but Acuna only 1 of 5. Austin Riley 1 of 5. And not just 1 of 5, but Austin Riley struck out 3 times. So a little bit of a rough patch for Austin. We're going to need him to step it up. Because, you could say we're not really playing for anything, but I feel like home field advantage can be key, especially going up against the Dodgers. We have shown we can win in Dodger Stadium, but we really want to risk it. Of course, with the Phillies, home field advantage might not matter. We see we're playing better in their stadium in games that we play each other than they are, and they're playing better in ours. So, a little bit closer when it comes to ours. The Braves still have the better record. But, man, the way the Phillies playing right now, this is not a team you want to see in the playoffs if you're the Braves. Historically, it's a team that can fuck us up. But anybody can, really. I still feel pretty good about the Braves. You got Max Fried back on the mound tonight. Yeah, tonight. I clicked on the wrong game. I was like, wait, I thought he was on the mound tonight. But yeah, Max Fried going up against Jake Irvin, who is 3-6 this year, compared to 7-1 for Max. Max, pitched a bullpen session a couple days ago and didn't have to use any tape, so just had a little blister that was developing, and they wanted to deal with it before it was an issue. He said he wouldn't have skipped a start. He would have pitched through it if it was the playoffs. But, we want everybody in the tip-top shape heading into the playoffs. We don't want to lose no momentum necessarily, but you also, if you got someone that has, a potential injury, because a blister don't sound like much, but when you're pitching, a little blister can do a lot of damage to your game. So good to deal with that. Hopefully he's good to go. Should be good game, a good series for the Braves to build a little momentum. Just rounding up the season. The Nationals is who we play the most. We got the 4 games there now. Then we'll have 3 games against the Cubs in Atlanta and finish the season with 3 games against the Nationals in Atlanta. So, be an important time for the team to try to get things right. And I think we can do that. I don't wouldn't be too concerned with some losses now because this team has had some up and down moments. This is just how to get the down ones out of the way. And you feel good. Like I said, Max Fried on the mound, followed by Charlie Morton, who didn't look good last time out, but you still trust Charlie. He's looked good overall lately. Most of his starts recently have been good. But, just one of those things, I believe, things just went a little sideways down there in Miami. I think it definitely didn't help not having our ace Max Fried pitching that time. So just a little struggle. We'll be all right. 4 games against the Expos. Good chance, team not playing for anything. Kyle Wright is expected to pitch Game 3 as of now, going up against Joan. I feel like it's probably not pronounced Joan. But he is 2-3, and Kyle Wright is 0-3. So it'll be a chance, see if Kyle Wright, if he doesn't show some improvement, I doubt he's on the playoff roster. If his third start looks like the first 2, then he's not. Maybe, I've been wrong. Look how long Snicker stuck with Marcell Ozuna before Ozuna got it straightened out. So maybe he'll keep giving him chances. I guess he might as well. Because you feel like you've got a good enough bullpen, you've got a good enough offense to carry him through some starts, to give him at least a couple more tries. But, because he was the league leader in wins last year. Last year's only 20-game winner in baseball. So you don't, if you can use him, you'd like to be able to use him, but what we've seen so far is him just getting used by the other team to score runs pretty much. It's not been pretty. But he felt like he was progressing. We'll have to see. And good chance to get it right. Not just for the team, but for Kyle Wright. Because the Nationals don't have anything to play for. They are eliminated. And the Braves still, despite losing, because they got a little help. The Dodgers lost last night too. But they are 3.5 games ahead of the Dodgers for the top spot in the National League still. So you still like their chances. There's only 10 games left right now. So the Braves should still be able to do that. And it wouldn't be like the end all if they don't have home field, but you definitely would prefer it. And you'd like the team to go in on a little bit of a run and then have to see what happens. Last year they said they played some simulated games because that's one of the bad things. You get that extra week off. It can get you healthy, but can also get you a little bit out of sync while the other teams are playing. And it definitely seemed to hurt the Braves last year. It didn't help that they had some injury and some illness issues with the rotation. And this year, Ronald Acuna is a different beast than he was last year. But still, you want to find a way, do your best to do that. All these other teams are playing. The Braves, of course, still have the 2 games ahead of the Orioles, who also lost last night for the best record in baseball. So still, decent chance of clinching home field all the way through. But that's not the end-all, be-all, but it can be helpful, But also staying hot and ready to play. Like last year, look at the Phillies did to us in the playoffs. We just can't let that happen, or the division championship, and all these records just wouldn't mean anything. But let's take a quick look at the wild card standings in the National League. I already talked about the Phillies, who are 4 games up on the Cubs for the finals for the final spot. So unlikely to lose, especially, like I said, only 10 games left. But there's still a chance. I would love to see the Phillies just lose the rest of their games and fall out of the playoffs entirely, but that's not going to happen more than likely. It'll probably be the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, and the Cubs. The Diamondbacks are 1.5 games over the Cubs. The Cubs are only 0.5 game over the Marlins, though. So we just saw how the Marlins are playing lately. I'm sure these fish ain't flopping. That's for damn sure. And then the Reds are only 1 game behind them. So it really is coming down to those 5 teams through the 3 wild card spots. But you can't rule out the Giants, who are only 3 games out. And how about the Padres, who looked like they were done? They're only 4.5 out right now. So probably not going to catch up. But if the Cubs, went on a losing streak, not going to catch the Phillies because they'd have to win all their games while the Phillies lose all their games, which I'd love to see, but probably not going to happen. The Padres are already on a 7-game winning streak, so we'll see how long they can extend that. Diamondbacks out west also on a 5-game winning streak, keeping themselves in there. As of now, it would be like the Cubs and the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks would take on, I guess, one of the division winners. The Brewers, I would assume, yeah. And in the American League for the wild card, the top 3 teams in the American League are all in the East. Tampa Bay has a wild card spot locked up. They're 8.5 up on the final spot. Toronto has gone on a 5-game winning streak. And they're not really catching up to the Rays or the Orioles, but they have become the 3rd best team in the American League. And they have a 1-game lead on both the Rangers and the Mariners. Rangers and Mariners right now tied for 2nd place in the American League West. And they are both tied for that final wild card spot. So in the American League, it's going to come down to 4 teams fighting over those 3 spots. It's really a shame that these teams are going to... one of these teams won't make it with all these great records. The Mariners won 3 in a row recently. The Rangers won 2 in a row. It's been a battle. They're looking like they were falling out there in the West. The Astros and the Mariners, but the Rangers ain't going away easy. So those 3 teams fighting for those last 2 spots will be interesting because the Yankees aren't technically eliminated, but they're 8 games out, so they might as well be. The Red Sox just were eliminated. So I think I'm hoping I really want to see the Mariners get in there. I'm still hoping for a Mariners-Braves World Series, but the Mariners could also still win the division. Right now, they are them and the Rangers tied with each other, but they're only a half a game out from the Astros. The Astros could still end up as a wild card team, but either way, they've got a 90.6% chance of going in. The Rangers at 65 and the Mariners at 60. And the only teams that have clinched a playoff spot in the American League are the Orioles and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Devil Rays, leading wild card team, are 2.5 games behind the Orioles, so they can still catch them. Could happen. And the Central, the Cubs, the Brewers pretty much have the Central. They're 7 games up there. The Twins are 9 games up on Cleveland, so they've all but clinched that. Cleveland could have gave themselves a chance down the stretch, but just weren't able to string together any wins. They're on a 3-game losing streak, so they're pretty much eliminated at this point. Angels, did win a game, but of course the big news is Shohei Ohtani had his surgery. They don't seem to mention what surgery it is, but a lot of people think it's Tommy John. And he's going to be able to hit, they say, next year, but he won't be able to pitch next year, but they still say he will be pitching by 2025. See how that affects his payday. And real briefly, we will go over, let's look at the NFL action tonight. Tomorrow will be Football Friday, as well as talking about tonight's Braves game, obviously. We'll talk about tonight's football game, the Giants and the 49ers. And tomorrow we'll do a little bit of a preview for the rest of the games, including my Panthers and the Seahawks. And big news in football, for me at least, is that Bryce Young didn't practice on Wednesday. Yeah, it was the first, it was a short week. Maybe they're just giving him an extra day off. Have him listed with an ankle injury. No word on when that happened, how that's going to affect him. They say they're confident with Andy Dalton if they got to start him. But definitely not a good development. Everybody talking about whether Bryce Young can handle it. And I know the NFL, is a tough place. All these years, Aaron Rodgers has played mostly healthy, and look how quick he went down. So shit happens. But just not a good sign when all these questions about whether you can handle it, whether you're strong enough to, if he has to miss any time with the injuries this early, definitely going to be some red flags. Too early to really freak out about it, because like I said, it's football, people get hurt, but just with all the extra questions already surrounding Bryce Young. And apparently I was reading that still Frank Reich is still doing the play calling. He's not ready. He says he's, feels like things are getting better, that they're close to it, and it's tough to give up that play calling. Thomas Brown, I think, probably should be getting that. And even Frank Reich echoing something I had said, and then to get Laviska Shenault Jr. the ball more. He had that 1 run for 7. And, Miles Sanders is questionable as well. So there's a lot of questions surrounding this team, but the Seahawks, man, it's going to be a tough test. I don't know, maybe we would rather have Andy Dalton as the quarterback, which is weird to say, but when it comes to like dealing with the fan noise and all that, which will definitely be an issue in Seattle, I don't know, maybe you feel more comfortable with that, but like I still don't want to. I'm not saying give up on Bryce Young. I'm just saying I wouldn't feel terrible if Andy Dalton is the quarterback on Sunday. But for the future, it wouldn't be great. Short term, maybe he's better. But it's still some questions there. Maybe Bryce Young is just the first practice of the week. Today will be like a bigger, today and tomorrow. He definitely needs to get out there and practice. It was just a walkthrough, though, on Wednesday. So maybe no big deal. But the big injury for tonight's game, the Giants will be without Saquon Barkley. So I don't think they have a chance. The 49ers are going to go to 3-0 tonight. Prime time, prime video, one of Prime's former teams. And also, I just was reminded of a Sega game I forgot about. When Sega was the best back in the day, the Genesis, Sega Sports. And then they had, it was like Deion Sanders. I can't remember the name of the game at Prime something. But I forgot about, they had like the football game where Deion Sanders, you could have like multiple positions. Deion, man, he was so much fun. Like that's why I'm so happy to see him winning. And a big game Saturday, Colorado taking on Oregon. Like that's a lot of people don't expecting Oregon to win that one. But I mean, you can't rule out Prime. He's going to be missing Travis Hunter on his team, which will be obvious. But he's got guys that can step up. His son's one hell of a quarterback. Shadur and his other son Shiloh is one hell of a defensive player. Had an interception last game and forced a fumble. Like, he's out there and want to try to step up with his teammate Travis Hunter being out for at least a few weeks. You get like a lacerated liver. So that's rough. But either way, I don't see the Giants losing. I mean, the Giants winning tonight. I think the 49ers are going to, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Bosa on the other side. I think the 49ers are going to make pretty quick work of the Giants in this one. We'll see. And I've been wrong before, but I just don't see the 49ers losing this one. At home, especially with the way the Giants are playing. Like, they got their ass kicked by Dallas, who's really good, looks like. And then, got the win last week. But I believe the 49ers find a way to get this one. Because they're just a really damn good team right now. They're Super Bowl bound, probably. Very, very likely. A lot of teams, they got to fight on their way. But I feel like, you have a healthy Brock Purdy, a healthy Christian McCaffrey, healthy Nick Bosa. Team's going to do some damage. But stay tuned. We'll talk more about football tomorrow going into Sunday's big games. We'll look at some of Saturday's games as well in the college football world. Talk more about the Panthers trying to get win number 1. 0-2, the only team without a win in their division. The only team in their division that's not 2-0. So they want to get a W. They don't want to be alone with that. Still want to have a chance in the division. Either way, though, that's going to be it for today. I don't know why I'm so congested. I took some allergy stuff already, and I feel like it made it worse instead of better. So, yeah, not feeling sick or anything, just like all in my sinuses and my nose and all that shit. All clogged in a not good way. Not that there is a good way to be clogged, I guess. I guess that's up for debate. Either way, that's going to be it for me today. I hope y'all have a wonderful, terrific Thursday. And have no troublesome times. I mean, you're going to have them eventually, but hopefully as minimal as possible. And come back for more tomorrow. Do my best to bring y'all another episode of Babbling Brook. Subscribe on Spotify so you never miss a babble, baby. Having said all that, I am out of here. Come back for more. Like I said, peace out.